mentally for you? Obviously, it had to be a very trying and taxing year last year. How have you gone about everything from last November and losing that opportunity to an off season, competing the way you went about it to be able to win the job and get back doing it?
Yeah, for sure. You just can't give up. You can't ever just give in. Like I knew what I was capable of. I knew what I can do, and I really just came down to believing in myself and believing in my abilities. Because you go through some rough things on the field, you start to kind of forget what you're capable of. Like you have a couple bad games, have a couple practices. It's like it's almost like you forget how to do what you do, or you do every day. You know what I mean? So it really just came down to believing in myself, talking to my family, talking to my friends, just getting comfortable again, and just smiling more, and just being happy, like looking around and seeing where I am, and just being grateful for what I have. And things fall into place. They fall into place, and they did.
Was there a moment or a particular period of time where you felt the confidence kind of return?
I wouldn't really say one particular moment, but I would say a culmination of a bunch of really good practices and just getting back to myself, just making kicks every day and just, doing what I knew I could do, It definitely wasn't one specific moment, because you need to build up confidence over time, you know what I mean? It doesn't just happen in one day.
Was that in the fall camp thing?
Fall camp, spring ball, even after the second half of the season in practice, like I was doing better than I ever had, but obviously, Henry was doing awesome, so I couldn't argue with that. I had to do what I could to help the team win, and that was kicking off. So, over time, I just continued to make kicks, continued to be confident in myself, and it worked out.
Did they lay out like a performance plan of any type for you, benchmarks to kind of hit through spring and fall?
Not necessarily. A lot of it falls on me, as far as like kicking, and I wouldn't say no. We really had any sort of. Obviously, the goal is to make every kick. You know what I mean? That's the goal. I'd say that's the benchmark, is make every kick. But
it's such a mental component, kicking. Like I've known some kickers where it's like one or two can really throw off a rhythm for an entire season for some of these guys. For you, what was the mental battle just kind of like, especially in this fall camp, knowing that you were getting better, seeing it go in a little more consistently from further out? I mean, how much can it build when you just start seeing one or two or three start to go like that?
Yeah, you're right. It really does just take one, because I went into 2020 as confident as I could have been. I felt awesome. I had a great fall camp, and things just didn't fall into place. Things just didn't work out. And same thing happened this fall camp. I felt great again, and it's falling into place. It's just, you can't make them all, but you can make more than some. So I think I definitely didn't have the start I wanted, and that hurt. Like it hurt my confidence for sure. But you get back to practice, you gotta start building back.
Your touchback started to improve even late last season, but this year obviously it's an enormously higher clip.
Yep.
Can you share just what changed? If you improved leg strength, Mario was talking a little bit about mechanics and certain things technique-wise, but how do you jump from 16-something% to 65%?
I mean, that's another thing that really is confidence. Like in high school, I was almost 100%. You know what I mean? It's just, obviously a lot of it comes down to technique, and I'm not going to sit here and explain to you guys, how to kick a touchback, but just relaxing, not trying to crush the ball, just swinging through smooth. I know I have the leg to get the ball in the end zone, but sometimes I would try to, kick it too hard, and then the ball goes fluttering off to the side, because it really is all about the way you make contact, and I just had to get that contact right, and it has helped a lot.
So, obviously, just naturally, it sounds a lot like a golf swing.
It's exactly like a golf swing.
So were you getting either ahead or behind? Were your hips getting ahead or behind the ball?
Yeah, I would say both. Depends on the kick. Some ahead, some behind. It is exactly like golf.
What's the relationship between you and Henry like, just as competitors, as people, as teammates, and what's the room like? How was that through fall camp?
I think it's really a cool thing. Henry's one of my best friends, so we have a really good time competing. Sometimes he gets a shot, sometimes I get the shot, but it's just it's a really friendly competition, and we have a lot of fun for sure. We push each other to get better. Like he's made me better. I think I've made him better. I think he would say that too. I think we really push each other, which is pretty cool.
You guys are in unique situations as, you know, two guys on a team that really understand each other in a way that I don't think any of your other teammates do. I mean, when you're going through those ups and downs in confidence, how vital is that other guy and having a good relationship with that other guy in the room? Because it's maybe one of the only, if not the only guy on the team that can really understand what you're going through mentally.
I think it's important that we support each other, because if we don't, we're both going to crash, you know? So even now, like if he has a bad practice, if I have a bad practice, we're always there to, you know, we watch film together, we figure out, you know, what went wrong. Like we have each other's backs. That I definitely would say we do, which is cool.
As hard as you can try to block out all the outside noise, it's inevitable that you're going to hear some criticisms over the years. So, especially when Henry is as successful as he was last year, how hard is it to really block that out and just focus on yourself? And what did you learn about yourself while trying to do that?
I think as far as like myself, it really did teach me a lot about how to, because you need to be able to accept criticism no matter what you're doing. It's not just kickers that get criticism, you know what I mean? So I do delete social media, obviously, because I just think that's toxic, but you just gotta to listen to the people's opinions whose opinions matter. Like people are gonna say things no matter what happens. So why bother listening to it? Why does it matter? I care about what my parents think. I care about what my friends think. I don't care what about a bunch of people on Twitter who criticize every little detail thing. You know, they don't know what they're talking about.
What's your range that you're comfortable with right now?
Depends on the wind. I would say 50 yards and in, no matter what the conditions, I would feel pretty confident. If we got a wind at our back, I'd bring it back to 65, and I'm going to unload that thing. But I don't know if Chris Paul would say the same thing, but I would love to get a 60-plus yarder in. But yeah, I would say inside of 50, I feel really confident.
Mario mentioned people back home you confided in along the way here. Who were some of those people?
My coach back home is Dan Orner. He coaches tons of NFL kickers and a lot of really successful guys in that business. And more than just learning how to kick a football, he's a great mentality coach and has taught me just how to look at things. Same with my parents. Like my parents, they're always the ones who are there for me, like telling me, you know, they've been through a lot of stuff. They've had criticism. They know how to accept it. They know how to deal with it, and they've taught me a lot too. So I would say those are the two really big voices in my life.
With the way college football is, man, and just the way the world is now in this sport, guys leave when there's not opportunities, particularly a quarterback or a specialist, because only one of you can be out there.
Right.
Did that cross your mind? Because look, I mean, Adam left, he looked for an opportunity. Harrison left, he's found an opportunity. It's happened here. So did that ever cross your mind? And if so, why did you really stay? And if not, you thought about not quitting. What was it about it that chose to stick it out?
That's a great question. I think a lot of guys would, you know, that would cross their mind, but it really, I don't want to leave. Like I made a commitment and I want to stick it through, and I'm very confident in myself. I know what I can do, and I see an opportunity here, so why would I not take that opportunity? You know?
You mentioned the wind. Say it's the first day of fall. We're going to see weather changing. You avoided a rainy game last Saturday, but do you see, you know, when adverse weather, do you see that as more of a challenge? How do you prepare for that in the league?
I don't really prepare for wind. I mean, there's flags on top of the poles. They tell you where it's going. So whether that's a couple of yards left or right, I got to aim. That's all I got to do. Every kick's a straight kick. So if the wind's going hard right, then I aim a little right and it'll come in. And I think I know the wind pretty well in the stadium after being here for almost 3 years now. So that's not something I'm ever really worried about.
On that, and this is going to sound stupid, I admit.
Okay.
I freely admit this. It came up, I was at another institution that built a giant video board, and we talked about that it could change wind patterns inside the building. Since that megalith got built last season and now the fans are back, have you noticed, if the kickers, Coach Williams, have you guys talked about in any way that may actually have had an impact here, since that obviously wasn't here 2 years ago?
No, honestly, no. Like, I think wind's a day-by-day thing, but I think it probably does have a difference, but I haven't really noticed anything. Hopefully there's less wind in there, but that's what you hope for.
All right, thanks,